Good afternoon, everyone. This is Alejo Torres with the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. We are now a couple of minutes past, so we will go ahead and get started. First and foremost, I just want to thank you for joining us. If you are on the call, then you are either a host facility or you are a presenter that wants to learn more about the roles and responsibility of the presenter. So we will go through a very short slide deck here, 11 slides to kind of give you an overview of the presenter materials, and again, some of the do's and don'ts for presenting for MoneySmart. Just want to let you know that we do have a chat feature so that you can see they're prominently displayed in the left-hand corner. If you have any questions throughout, Shayla Murray, my colleague, will be answering questions. So don't hesitate to ask there. But we will, of course, at the end of the slide deck, open it up for questions on the line. So to kind of give you, again, just a brief intro, we are looking to accomplish a couple things. We want to let you know where your tools and resources are available. And so we'll show you where they are on the website. We will also go through some of those materials in a little bit of detail. If again, you've partnered before and you've done this before, then you've likely have seen them, so this will be review. But I assume that the majority of the folks on the call are first-time MoneySmart Week partners. We'll talk a little bit about the reporting aspect of gathering the data and surveys and how we do that, and some do's and don'ts for presenters. Because there's always questions about, can I have business cards, can I not? And so we'll cover that as well. So first and foremost, I think it's important just to let partners know that, when we launched our campaign in October, we did put out a partner kit. So I know that's a lifetime ago, but usually in the fall when we launch, we do put out for all partners a kit in which is your guideline for your planning process. It's kind of your Bible for MoneySmart. So where is that located? MoneySmartWeekPartners.org, as you know, is the partner-facing part of the of our two websites. And if you see there what I have highlighted over the partner link, there is partner materials. And again, this is if you've never were aware that there was partner materials, this is where they live, and this is also where the partner kit lives. So the next screen, if you click on that, will show you the list of partner materials you have access to. And there in the middle, you see 2016 MoneySmart Week Partner Kit that's underlined and highlighted. If you click on that, it will give you a PDF. And a PDF will have a variety of documents in it, a variety of background information, what is MoneySmart Week, what is the history, what is the process in participating, the timeline, etc. But what we're going to focus on is pages 16 through 20, which is the presenter document. So in red there to the right, it includes an introductory script, surveys, consumer sign-up sheets, and presenter checklists. So we'll talk a little bit more about those in detail. But that partner kit, again, has more information than you really need, but it does have all the content you need to participate, and this is where the partner presenter materials live. So what we're looking to do with this call, this webinar, and at our events is really to try to standardize them as much as possible and gather as much feedback that we can. So that's where the introductory script comes into play. If you actually look at it in the partner kit, it's actually written out in paragraph form, and we have yet to put it into bullet points, but this is basically a summary of that. We don't ask that you read it or memorize it, but at least know the components of that script. And again, what we're trying to do is there's going to be folks that are going to be attending multiple events, so we want them to be aware that this is part of that larger effort. So if we can have a very similar introduction, we're saying the same things, and the other thing is that we're pointing people to other options and resources that they can take advantage of throughout the week. So what's the summary of the script? Well, a little bit about where it's coming from, right? The Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago, that it is hundreds of organizations coming together to be a part of this and provide thousands of events across the country. which is important, again, because we want to cross-promote all the events that are taking place. And make sure that we are telling people they can go to the website, moneysmartweek.org/find events, and just put in their zip code, their state, other criteria to find events that are close to them or they might be interested in. Or even if they want to let family and friends know that we live in different parts of the country, that this is happening, they should look to see if there's something near them. This is also a good time, and I don't have a slide here, but this is also a good time to just remind folks. I know we have a lot of libraries on the call, and certainly interested in this portion of the campaign. It is vitally important that we get those event details into the database. I think last check we were a little bit over 2,000 events nationwide, and last year we had almost 5,000. So I think we really want to make sure that we're getting those events in the system for a couple of reasons. Number one, so that we can record them and count them and make sure that they are part of the campaign. And then secondly, more importantly, so that consumers who are attending events or coming to the website can see a full list of what's available. And I know that there are some states, some markets where there's only a handful of events, and it seems that the value of having the events in the database is not as high, but certainly it is very valuable for us to have that information. And of course, since we are promoting this nationally, there is a lot of buzz about Money Smart Week in multiple states now. We certainly want to give consumers that full slate of options to choose from when it comes to financial programming. So please do get your events into the system as soon as possible. If you are on this call, you are a registered partner, right? So we did invite everyone that's registered as a partner, so you just simply have to go back into the database and enter your events. When you log back in, you see that there's an opportunity to enter your events, and I just want to make sure that we're doing that because there were some calls about or questions about that at the earlier call. We also are trying to make sure and ensure and make everyone or put everyone at ease at the events to let them know that we are not selling products and services, right? So as host facilities, especially for libraries, we kind of ask that you pay attention to this and make sure that that's not happening. We have had very few incidents where it has happened. In the incidents where it does, we have conversations with that partner and, let them know that that's not allowed. If it's too egregious, then obviously we ask them not to participate again going forward. But again, there's been very few times over the past, decade plus that we've been doing this that we actually had to do that. Most partners that register understand that this is an educational program and they are not to sell products and services, but we absolutely want to remind the audiences that this is the case and put them at ease from the very beginning. We want to remind the audience or let them know that there are surveys. At this point, we are still talking about a very manual process. I think for Money Smart Week 2017, we're going to try to automate a little bit more and maybe use some more electronic surveying. But at the moment, for 2016, we still have a very manual process. So in the kit, we have an English and Spanish survey that we are asking you to print out and hand out at your event. So as host facilities, we ask you to have those available and or coordinate with your presenter, right? So if you have someone that's coming in from a financial institution that's going to present, they may be bringing some on their own. So just kind of coordinate that with them and just decide who's going to hand them out. We do prefer that the host facilities do provide them and enter them into the database. Again, not to say anything ill of any presenters, but there is a temptation when entering in those surveys. If the presenter is entering them, there might be a temptation to pull out some that are not so favorable. And again, we hardly ever get that, and we know that all of our partners are, and most of them are of quality, and that's not happening. But we just want to make sure that we're keeping the integrity of the program keeping it as good as it can be. So if we can have the host facilities manage that would be great. We also have a contact sheet so that consumers can be added to our email list, so we'll take a look at all those. But again, this is just a summary of what's available and what the participant and consumer should expect at the event. So this is not meant to be read. I know the type is very small here, but just to show you what the survey looks like, they are in the partner kit, and where I showed you can access that. And if you can just print out those pages and have them available, there is one in English and Spanish. And just to give you an idea of what's there, if you've never seen this document before, it's a one-pager, and the first few questions are more demographic, right? Male, female, ethnicity, age, that type of thing. The middle questions are value questions. Did you find this valuable? Would you recommend it to a family or friend? And then the bottom section is a little bit more for us to learn about how they heard about it so that we can redirect our marketing and promotion for the next year. So that's the main pieces of the survey. Again, it's very short. We ask you to hand them out and encourage them to fill it out. It should only take 5-10 minutes max to fill out this survey. We also have the Let's Stay in Touch form where they, as consumers, can sign to check that they would like to participate in the electronic surveys post Money Smart Week, or be available for any kind of media or to talk about their experience the following campaign. So that's all this is. We don't have any contact information on the surveys. We want those to remain anonymous. But certainly they have the option to fill this out as well and get on our email list. So we ask you to distribute those and collect both those pieces. So the other is the presenter's checklist that's in the document. And it kind of covers what I've been talking about here, but it just kind of gives you a way to check off, all the different pieces and responsibilities as a presenter or a host facility, right? Making sure that the opening script is at least summarized, that you distribute and collect the surveys, the sign-up sheet, and the other pieces that are not necessarily on the other slides here is, making sure that we're arranging for photos at the events, we're recording the number of participants, any kind of highlights that we can gather from these events that are worth reporting, we'd love to hear about, because as you know, we are putting together an annual report and other reports that we put out to partners. So making sure that we're making that available or making time for that. So let's talk about reporting. So all reports are due by May 18th, so that's 2 weeks after Money Smart Week, so it's not very long. Here are the main components of what we're looking for, what we would like you to provide to us as an individual organization or a host facility. Attendance. So again, as I spoke to earlier, when you enter your event into the database, it does ask you for an email contact person. What does that mean? It means that person is responsible for getting notices about when your event is approved, if anything changes, and that sort of thing. But the other thing that it's key for is that as soon as the event ends, the database knows to automatically send that email contact an email every single day until they enter their attendance. So that's why it's very important for us to take attendance. We are asking you to actually count physical heads. Let's not rely on surveys, because not everyone fills out a survey, but if we can count heads and report that number into the database, that's what we're looking for. But again, the email will send automatically every day to that email contact. So that's the one piece. Surveys, this is the link. We will actually email out this PowerPoint to all of the participants, but it is there if you want to copy it down, or as soon as at the end of the day we'll send out the PowerPoint to all of our folks, or by tomorrow. And it is a bit of a manual process in which, I know that some of you will have several classes, and you may have 20, 30 people in your classes, so it does take some time, but we do ask you to upload each survey individually. And, a lot of organizations or even planning teams have decided to, look to volunteers, to students at local universities and colleges, or certainly if you have some interns or some support staff at your organization, this might be it's a very manual task, but it's the only way that we have to upload the surveys at this point. We are again looking for a more electronic process going forward. And then, of course, if you have any photos of your events, we're looking for action shots, right? People engaged, learning, teaching. We're always looking for those photos for our website and for our annual report. Any reports that you'd like to write up for us, captions to go along with those photos, or any additional highlights, you can email to us at money.smart@chr.frb.org. So again, those are the main pieces that we are looking for in terms of reports. So keep that in mind as you go into the events on how to prepare for these in terms of making sure you're counting heads, making sure that you have surveys available, and again, arranging for some photos or, writing down some notes about the highlights. Now, here's where it gets a little tricky because this process can vary depending on where you're from, what state, whether or not you have a planning team, because as many of you know, we have two very different models for Money Smart Week. We have the planning team model, like Chicago and other cities in the Midwest, and now it's spread from coast to coast, where we have a group of organizations that are coming together in a city, in a county, in a whole state that are coordinating all of their Money Smart Week activities together. And some of those planning teams have developed a process in which all the surveys go into one place, all the attendants go to one person to input them. So really, please, if you do have any kind of planning team in your area that you are working with, please check with them first, or even sometimes at the organization level. You may be a presenter, but someone at your organization is coordinating all of your Money Smart Week activities, and that person will have a process that they would like to follow. So I would always say if you are working with other people in your area, please check in first. But I understand and realize that through our national partnerships with the Financial Planning Association, the American Library Association, USDA Cooperative Extension, that there may be just individual libraries, individual educators that are providing classes one-off, in various communities around the country. And so in that case, then you will want to, use this survey link and this email address to report your information. But certainly, again, one of the more important ones is the attendance, so making sure that you have your event in the system to start with so that you can make sure that you add your attendance for your event. So again, I know it varies from place to place, and we're trying to get to a point where Money Smart Week is pretty consistent, where we have the national, participation in every state, but we also have at least one planning team in every state. So I think we're a few years away from that, but as you know, Money Smart Week has seen a lot of growth and expansion over several years, and we're still in that growth period. So those are the reporting tips, and these are some additional ones, and mostly do's and don'ts, because we get lots of questions on behalf of libraries that are hosting, what the presenter can and can't do, and of course from the presenters themselves. Please, feel free to have educational materials for attendees. We ask you to shy away from materials that feature products and services, but educational materials are okay. You can have business cards available, at the back of the room, people who ask for them, that's fine. Your presentation slides as a presenter, they can have, a company logo, that's fine. If Edward Jones is, a representative from Edward Jones is presenting content from Edward Jones, it's fine to have their logos there. That kind of soft marketing is not prohibited. But some of the things like the more hard sales pitches are, obviously. So, we don't want to have any product and service materials available or pitching of that or mention of that in any of the presentations. To make sure that it stays educational. So, for example, if ABC Bank is talking about home equities, line of credits, they're talking about them in general and how they work and, how you can take advantage of something like that and use that type of product, but not necessarily the specifics about that bank's home equity loans. So that's what I mean by that. We don't want to have a handing out of the business cards. They can be available at the back of the room or at the front of the room. And there can be an announcement made on behalf of the presenter to say, if you are interested in talking to me about my product and services, I can offer A, B, and C, and leave it at that. And if folks want to come and engage them after the event, that's fine. We just can't have any, hard sales of that, because we understand that, although this is all educational, we know that consumers are going to eventually need access to products and services to meet their financial goals, and that's just the reality. So, the fact that organizations, may, engage and provide some business and services to consumers is okay. It just can't be something that is forced. It has to be something that the consumers are opting into by engaging themselves. And so in that same vein, we do not endorse any kind of sign-up sheets on behalf of any for-profit that's going out to later market to them later. That is prohibited. So as host facilities, make sure that your financial advisor is not walking away with a list of emails that they intend to market to later. So those are the additional do's, don'ts, some of the most common questions we get from presenters and host facilities. But as I said, this was not a long webinar, so that's all I have in terms of slides. I see that there's been a lot of questions and a lot of, Shayla's been busy typing away here, and I really haven't been paying attention to too much of it. But if there's a question that anyone would like to open up to the group, I'm going to unmute everyone, so hold on for a second while I do that.
The conference is now in talk mode.
And so I know we have a lot of folks on, but certainly if anyone has a question, you do have to press *6, even though I just open it up for conversation. You do have to press *6 on your phone. But if anyone has any questions, please press *6 and ask. Hello? Yes.
My name is Bradley Kirkendall, and I'm from Lincoln University. And I was wanted to know, I would like to maybe publish some of our experiences. Do you guys happen to have, I think I did speak with Shayla about publishing into a blog or something, but about our different experiences. Okay, I see it. It's just posted.
Yeah, well, I was just putting it back just in case you were asking about if you do want to send us any information for us to promote and talk about it in our annual report or any other reports or even on social media. We do want to report out as much as possible some successes, so you can email that to us. But yeah, certainly if you want to blog about anything or talk about your experience or promote what happened, that's great. We'd love to get all of you doing that and plugging your successes for sure.
Okay, that's all that I have.
Okay. Any other questions for the larger group? Again, *6 to unmute yourself.
Hello?
Yes.
We're just making sure that you're going to send this PowerPoint presentation later?
Yes, we are. Everyone that's logged in had to enter an email address, so we will be sending out to that list
Great, thank
for
you.
these links. Yes.
Thank you.
And I guess there was another question about the business cards. Yeah, the business cards are allowed and available at the back of the room, so that's okay. And again, the presenter can make a statement at the end to say if this is, or even at the beginning when they say who they are and what they do, they can state, some of the services they provide, and if anyone wants to talk to them about that after the class, then that's fine. But business cards are allowed at the back of the room for sure. So it looks like there's a question, can presenters have their own surveys? We don't encourage it. It's not necessarily an absolute no, but you can't collect any contact information. So if you have a survey, and I know that there are some organizations that require you to have a survey, and so that's why I kind of leave it open. But the reason why I don't encourage it if it's not a requirement is just because it's hard enough to get people to stay and fill out one. To fill out two is sometimes, they just won't. They won't stick around at all. So again, the answer is not necessarily no, but I would discourage it, and certainly we cannot have any collection of contact information on those additional surveys.
Hi, Grace Nichols with Middle Line Credit Union. I just had a question about the surveys. Are you able to just pass them out at the beginning of the presentation, or do you have to have them fill them out at the end?
Yeah, no, either or. I mean, use your judgment. I mean, if you want to hand them out at the beginning and ask people to fill them out before they leave, that's fine. If they want to fill them out during, that's fine. I mean, absolutely. And in fact, that might be better because it gives them more time to actually fill it out and digest what's on it and, maybe start filling out throughout the class because it's not very long survey. It doesn't take a lot of thinking to figure out to mark where you heard about it from. So that's fine, and that's probably the best option is to hand it out in the front. And I do say that in the opening script to hand it out and make reference to and let people know that this is a free class. The only thing we ask you is just to take the 5 minutes to fill this out.
And on behalf of our company, are you allowed to promote it on Facebook and social media, the class?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. Any organization, for-profit, non-profit, library, absolutely go ahead and promote, your events. However you normally promote activities and events, that's absolutely fine.
Is there any way to get a full list of where all the Money Smart Week events are, or are you strictly doing the Q reader where you scan it and it goes to the website?
Well, the full list, again, is, just at the website, right? So on the website, you can, click on Find Events, and you can click on your state and then put in your zip code. But I guesstimate that there's going to be, close to 5,000 events by the time everyone gets their information into the system. So it depends on the region and where you're from. I mean, some states obviously have many more events than others. The state of Illinois will probably have 1,500 events alone just because we've been doing it here the longest, and it has the Chicago campaign, which is huge. But, it depends on where you are, but that's the best place to get the full list of all the events. And it is by state. So if you go on there, you click what state you're from, and then you can, again, enter your zip code or your topic that you're interested in, et cetera.
All right. Thank you. Do I put star 6 to unmute or to mute again?
Yes. Press star 6 to mute.
Thank you.
And I think there was a question about youth audiences. The survey is intended just for adult audiences. College is okay. If you have an event at a college or college-age kids, that's fine. But yes, the survey, absolutely, I should have mentioned that is adult focus. And now for the youth events, although we don't have the surveys, we do have the other components where we hope that we want you to take attendance, right, and report that through the database, and take photos and provide any highlights of those photos or additionally. So those components remain, but no, we do not have to hand out surveys at youth events. Any other questions, comments?
Hello, this is Sharisa Jefferson at Cal State Northridge. We're having our event for the first time. We're really excited, but I'm a little confused about how to report the attendance. Can you explain that again?
Yeah, so we have some videos on our website. So if you go to back to the moneysmartweekpartners.org, there is like a new partner orientation. There is how to enter events videos. But basically, I'm assuming you've registered because you got an email invite for this webinar, correct?
Right. We've registered, and all of our events have been approved on the MoneySmart website.
Oh, okay.
As far as reporting attendance, how do you do that?
Gotcha. Okay, so what's going to happen is automatically when your events expire, meaning that the time has passed for that event, you are going to get an email automatically, because when you filled out your details in your event, one of the required fields was to add an email contact. So whoever you listed as an email contact is going to get the auto emails on a daily basis. It's designed to be annoying. It is, because we want people to fill out the attendance. But there will be a daily email saying, please fill in your attendance for this event. This is your session ID number for this event. And then that person has to go back into the system and look up that ID number and put in the attendance. Because when you click on it, you're going to see there's going to be a button that says attendance, and you click on it, and you just put in the number, enter, and you're done.
I see. Okay, thank you. So all the instructions will be in those emails?
Yes.
Those auto emails. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Alejo, this is Vicki. When you're talking about the surveys, you only want the surveys in the workshops that people are attending. Those of us that like to have the money fairs and those types of things, you don't want those surveys, correct?
Yeah, that's a good question, Vicki. So there are some events that are, more like a fair where you have materials and people are picking stuff up, and there might be some interaction at the tables and the booths, but not necessarily at a classroom. So I don't feel like you have to have surveys to those type of events. This is more for like that little deeper dive classroom experience. And I know at the fair, I think you do have some events there, but so maybe just the event portions where you're breaking out into smaller groups and actually having presentation. But certainly for those larger event type of fairs and events, it's not necessary. Now a conference, that's a different story. It's kind of a hybrid where there's multiple events, but you can use your judgment at a conference if you just want to provide one for the entire conference, or if you want to have individual ones for individual sessions. It's really up to you, but you can go either way. All right, any other questions for the good of the order?
Hello?
Yes.
Does the automated emails apply for surveys too, in referencing to the last question you answered in regards to attendance?
No, they don't. So the attendance is auto, and that's why we have about 95% reporting on that. But the surveys, we don't have that feature, so we will just send out a couple emails reminding you that we would like you to get the information into SurveyMonkey. But there's no kind of auto reminder on the surveys, and so that's why we have a much lower return on surveys.
And my last question is, I've been working very heavily with the Kansas City Bank, Federal Reserve Bank, because I'm located in Missouri. Okay. There's no problems with partnering with them. Do they report their stuff to you guys as well?
That's a good question. So there are in Missouri. I know there's the St. Louis region has its own event, and it's lined up with our national effort. I'm not sure about the rest of the state, but I don't know how far are you from St. Louis. Are you part of that St. Louis planning team?
Well, no, actually, I'm not part of any planning team. Okay. I just happened to reach out to both of them, and Kansas City responded, and they're going to be coming to my university to do a presentation. Well, the people that they have. And so I have been doing some events where I plugged it into theirs, and I automatically assumed that they would go to where you guys are doing it. I know I have to go back in now to do the Chicago one, but I was just curious, do you guys work together? Because I know you guys operate differently from what I've been told. Yeah, right. And so the majority of the Federal Reserves out there are aware of Money Smart Week and are involved in some way. There are some feds that are not. The Kansas City Fed, they have Money Smart Month. At least in the state of, I'm not sure which state they have it in now, but in a couple of states in their district they have Money Smart Month. So it's a little bit more information that you probably were looking for, but in the early days we weren't set up for a national campaign, so we would just show other Federal Reserves or other states what we were doing here in the Midwest, and they replicated it, and it looks very much like what we do on a national scale, but it's slightly different because maybe it's a month or maybe it's a different website. But there's only a handful of those campaigns out there, and the Kansas City Fed has one of them. They have Money Smart Month. But yes, please do enter it into the Chicago website so that we can capture it and have it be part of Money Smart Week. But certainly you can reach out to the folks there in Kansas City and let them know what you're doing, and we do, communicate with each other about about both of those campaigns. So we want to make sure we get it in both. Thank you. Sure. Anyone else? Question? Concern? Okay, well, we will stay on the chat for a few more minutes in case anyone has any questions, but we will close the audio portion. Just want to thank everyone again for your time and effort in Money Smart Week. I know it takes a lot to put these events together. So again, just thank you so much. We hope you have a very successful Money Smart Week event or events, and we look forward to hearing about all your successes. So thank you so much, and talk to you soon.